Climbing my way through here.
And here we are, we have arrived. What an amazing building to just find in the middle of a field on Exmoor. So let's check it out. Very cool. 1860, 1865. Look at that. Ruins of another winding house. Wow, look at that. Seagull perfectly positioned. The actual railway line still remaining. Hello everybody, I am currently stood in front of the ruins of Burrow Farm engine house. It's one of many surviving relics from the West Somerset Railway line that can still be found on Exmoor today, including one of the steepest railway inclines in the whole of England. So join me and let's explore the old mineral line. So we just got parked up at Chargot Wood. You've got the little car park here. Beautiful woodland. And then we've got this trackway. So we're going to head down this trackway and share with you some fascinating old ruins that relate to the old mineral line. Here we go, I see a signpost, so this must be it. Yes, here we go. So as we round the corner, this is what we're looking at. Yeah, so that's what it would have looked like. That's what we're left with today. If you look here, you've got the winding house, right? And then the tracks that would have gone along here into a shaft in the ground, which would have gone underground just here. But isn't that fascinating? That the memory of it's preserved and we know what it would have looked like. There was quite a large ventilation flue or tower just there, look, sticking up. Wouldn't that be amazing if we could still see that today? But how cool. Number 7, a reservoir for the boilers would have been just over there. There's a really cool picture here. The aerial cableway from Kenisham Hill Adit, seen from the east at Langham Hill in 1876. This one was pictured. So they used to put these, send the buckets down to fill up with coal and bring them back up on, yeah, from like using the winding house. But that's amazing to be able to see all of that. And I remember hearing stories about people getting in these. Sometimes they would want to lift back up, getting those, as you can imagine. It was extremely dangerous. In fact, there it is. Yeah, there it is, look, what I was just saying about, and it points out here, men were fined if they rode in the bucket. One Saturday, a miner was left standing in a bucket over the deep valley for 2 nights. As well as much discomfort, he was fined a quarter of a week's wages. So, fascinating that they've still got that memory preserved. But also, shame to him, he would have been stuck in one of these very buckets for 2 whole days. He must have been pretty cold, pretty hungry, and very, very thirsty. So this is the ruins you'll get up, you'll find at Chargot Woods. In the middle of nowhere, largely forgotten. But I encourage you to come and have a look. Let's see if we can find that shaft. Whoa, flipping hell! Oh, I swear it would nearly come out of me. Oh, God, that was a bit scary. Was not expecting that. Anyway, so here, remember on that picture you saw the... what would you call it? The carriages went across that trackway that was kind of high up and then went to the shaft where you can see the fenced off area. That is a shaft that just goes directly into the ground. And you can see these platforms that would have held up the carriageway to go down there. Like I say, it's very overgrown compared to before. You used to actually be able to walk down this section here. Whoa! God's sake, birds! So yeah, just be very careful if you come and explore here. It's not as accessible as it used to be. Okay, so much movement. What could it be? I'm always conscious of the Exmoor beast. And I never used to really be worried about the Exmoor beast. I thought it was all a bit of a myth until I had an experience once. I didn't see anything, but I heard sounds that you shouldn't hear on Exmoor. The sort of sounds you would expect to hear in a zoo. Anyway, look at this. I'm just climbing my way through here. Don't know what this was, but we can see there's like holes in the sides just here. Eerie. What is that? Ventilation, perhaps? No idea. But then we got an opening up at the top there. I'm not even going to be able to turn around in here. I'm going to have to reverse it. And here are the ruins from the other angle. Much more visible when it's less overgrown. There's some of the old iron from the steel cables, look. Isn't it funny to think maybe it was that iron cable that gentleman was stuck in his bucket on overnight. But there we go, so that was the ruins at Chargot Wood. Just wanted to share this with you, as it's a large part of the sort of mineral line heritage on Exmoor. And obviously it's pretty cool to see old ruins as well. So, but yeah, next we're going to go to an old winding house, which is really cool to see. And then we're going to go to the actual incline, which is one of the steepest man-made inclines that you will find not just in Somerset but in England, which I think is pretty cool. A lot of people, especially if you're local to the area, oh my god, it scares me when I hear stuff running around. A lot of people, especially if you're local to the area, they've heard the term mineral line, and they might walk a little stretch of the old mineral line and they think, oh, that's the mineral line. They don't realise that actually the mineral line encompassed a large part of the landscape, and it was made up from lots of different buildings, like the ruins just there. We're going to, like I said, we're going to go to the other engine house, all the way down to the harbour at Watchet, where there's train tracks preserved still from the mineral line, which, yeah. So the mineral line is not one area at all. The mineral line, as I said, encompasses quite a large part of Exmoor, all of which hint to much bigger industrial use, industrial heritage that we have in this area, which went as far as the Ebb Vale all the way over in Wales, which I think is pretty interesting. So we're now going to head to the Burrow Farm engine house. If you ever want to explore this, you just got to take the B3224 road. There's this little lane just off the road, but head for Burrow Farm engine house. You'll know if you're in the right area because you'll come across this very out of place looking stone. I actually thought this is a medieval boundary marker, which I think is pretty cool. It's known as the Naked Boy's Stone. No idea why, no one seems to know why. It seems to be a name that's been preserved through history and is still attached to it today. But we're going to head up this way until we get to a bridge, funny enough, known as Naked Boy's Bridge. Obviously just because it's close to the Naked Boy's Stone, but that bridge would have had a railway going underneath it, and that railway would have led to the engine house where we're heading. So yeah, you'll know where to find it because you'll see the bridge and the big ditch where the railway line used to be. And then we're just going to wander along there and find this really cool old engine house that used to have loads of old mines situated around it and stuff. So let's go. And here we go, just getting to the bridge. You can clearly see where the railway line used to be down there. I'm assuming they pulled it up, but this is Naked Boy's Bridge that we're stood on right now, and you can see permitted footpath and engine house is half a mile in this direction. So let's go. Good sheep, get on sheep. Oh, look at you, look like he was smiling then, that one. And here we are, we have arrived at the Burrow Farm engine house. Let's go and check it out. Oh. Well, a bit wobbly. Oh, there we go. Oh, blimey. Wow. I mean, come on sheep, out of the way, I want to explore here. There's too many of you. Come on now, bloody hell, there's so many sheep. Uh-oh, getting a little bit inquisitive. Here. Go on. I don't like it when I get a bit brave. Get. I just want to check out this building, guys. Come on now. This one's very inquisitive. Hello. I'm worried if one gets brave, they're all going to get brave. So I'm currently surrounded by sheep. This one's getting aggy. Literally trying to threaten me. There we go. I had to do that because he was like pounding the ground with his feet trying to scare me. Come on, go away. I need to make a video here. Come on. In the back of my mind, I'm literally thinking of my escape route. If they come at me, I'm jumping that. Anyway, now we've kind of got rid of the sheep, but not really. Here we have the Burrow Farm engine house. What an amazing building to just find in the middle of a field on Exmoor. So let's check it out. And look at that, the sheep have gone, so we can commence with our little video. Yeah, so what an amazing place to be able to explore that's still standing here today. There, I believe that was the old mine shaft just there. And you can see the mound of earth that they've dug out of the mines. That would have been the mine shaft. The engine house here would have had machinery which would have powered whatever was going down to the shaft to pick up coal and things like that. Random little opening going right through the wall there. But yeah, check this out. Very cool. Very cool shell of an old building that I'm happy to see still standing. But yeah, there we go. So it's just a reminder, like, you think of how quiet it is today, aside from the sheep, the multitude of sheep. Oh, well, there, I wonder what that was. Clearly there was another building here, I think, because I don't know where the entrance was. I think this is largely degraded, but it would have been higher. There would have been a building, like a roof coming off of this wall, creating some kind of building. So, oh yeah, we could see that because there's a piece of wall hanging onto the edge just there. So yeah, obviously a lot of it's been lost, but the main engine house is still preserved. Quite a substantial structure, really. Not the sort of thing you would expect to find in the middle of a field on Exmoor, but just goes to show you never really know what could be hiding and what there is to discover. One thing that's for certain is there is a lot to discover. You just got to get up and find it. West Mineral Railway, 1856-1898. Brendon Hill, that's where we are essentially now. Langham Hill Mine, that's where we was, I believe, earlier. Chargot Wood, or at least in that area. And then we've got Raleig's Cross Mine and the Incline. So the Incline down there. Now that's interesting. I didn't realise that was a pub opposite the Incline. But we're going to go and check that out next. The Incline is really interesting. There's not that much to see, but it's a beautiful building to see nonetheless. If you like exploring and you think you know Exmoor and you've not yet seen this, you definitely should pay it a visit. Now I'd like to see it from the other side. There we go. I'll look from the other side a minute. It's more the history of the building, I suppose, is more impressive than the actual building itself. So there we go. There is the Burrow Farm engine house. What an amazing piece of industrial archaeology to find in a random field in the middle of Exmoor. So there we go, that was the Burrow Farm engine house, another very important piece of the mineral line. Next we're going to head off to the Incline, which is probably the most substantial part because of the amount of work it would have gone into create such a thing. But anyway, let's go. Is it just me, or is that little sheep on the left just particularly cute? Very inquisitive. Also defensive, and looks like they want to attack. So we're just walking along and I was appreciating the sun. It's a beautiful day, as you can see. Not many clouds in the sky, but I just casting my eye over there, and one thing I like about these high points on Exmoor is just how far you can see. At the moment I'm looking at Brendon Down, and in a minute I'll be able to see Wales, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, but it's a place of the most beautiful views you will ever find anywhere, in my humble opinion. There we go, a steep holm just come into view. Doubt you'll be able to see it on the camera. There we go. Don't you think you'll be able to make out steep holm? Just a reminder. Oh, is that it? I think that's it just there. Yes, it is. Where's my finger gone there? Oh, that's messed up. But yeah, steep holm's just there. We are almost back at the car. Just notice that the cool roots on that tree. Almost back at the car, and then we're going to get to the incline and prepare myself for a proper hike now, because as I said, it's probably the steepest man-made incline in Somerset, and it is definitely one of the steepest inclines in the whole of England. So yeah, I will get back to you when we get there. Just driving to the next spot, and I had to stop to share this view to make clear why I say how beautiful the view is. Unfortunately my camera's not the best, but hopefully you can appreciate it. Still beautiful view from up here all the way over to Wales. So we've just got parked up at the area where I parked to do this walk for the incline. You can see stonework and stuff dotted around. There's walls and more stonework over there, but basically we're standing exactly where a railway line used to cross through. I'm going to show you it on the map, because obviously it's changed a lot in over 100 years, but I'm going to show you it in a map just to give you an idea, and you can see what it looks like now. No railway to be seen here, although there are remnants in the area. So there's a house over here, and there's a really cool plaque at the entrance, 1860, 1865. As we have established already, that is the timeline of the mineral line. So yeah, 1860, 1865. No doubt this building historically would have been associated with the mineral line, but still in use today, clearly. We are going to see some buildings, some of which are in a ruinous state. Oh, look, some more wall there. So actually, if I remember rightly, yeah, I think the railway passed through the middle of this bit, and you'll see why I think that in a minute, because there's an old building in a ruinous state. So let's go through this gate to the incline. Let's go. First thing you see is these little steps, and then to our right in just a moment. But before we do that, let's appreciate the view once again. What an amazing view. You're going to get sick of me waffling on about the view. Anyway, to your right, you will slowly reveal these amazing old ruins. Ruins? Ruins. Although I'm very anxious about bloody ticks with all this long grass. Yeah, look at that. Ruins of another winding house. I like that in here you've still got the metalwork in the windows. You can see that not only was it a winding house, but they tried to make it look nice. And there's also fireplaces as well, which is cool. Let's just have a look at these boards here. So there's one here that talks about the Brendon Hill village. So it was such an industrial area that actually a village sprung up around here, which I think is so cool. And there's a picture of them. They're outside the office on a Saturday payday. Saturday payday. This one's from 1908. And then we've got a bit of information on the building we're looking at. So we just saw it before we came in from the front. There's an illustration of what it might have looked like. As you can see, they try to make it look like an actual cottage. As I said, you've got iron coming from the Brendon Hills. And I believe it would have been loaded onto other carriages that would have made its way down to Watchet. It also would have carried up passengers. So you can see here the big chain, which would have been hauled up using machinery. This drum machinery here that you can see, huge drums there. There's a man that would have run the drums, would have been situated on that metalwork that you can see. And there's a tunnel there. The chains would have gone through there, and the drums would have worked that chain to bring people up and send goods down. So it's pretty fascinating stuff. Let's just have a quick look at what it says. There were 2 massive cast iron drums that lowered wagons of iron ore attached by thick steel cables down the incline. Each cable was over 1,000 meters, 3,280 feet long, and weighed 3.2 tons, the equivalent of 10 Exmoor ponies. Nice little reference to Exmoor ponies there. And it points out, you see evidence of fireplaces in the building, once known as Drum Cottage. This building was. It was inhabited by the brakesman, but not lived in after 1875, when it became the maintenance workshop. It's one of many cottages that were built nearby in the 1860s to form Brendon Hill village and house more than 200 workers and their family. Amazing stuff. So let's have a quick look at this building. Lovely windows there. There's the tunnel mentioned, and you'll see where that comes out in a moment. I'll show you from the top. Wow, look at that. Everyone loves a tunnel, don't they? There we go. That's really cool. And then the old fireplace on this side. I'm not going to clamber through all those brambles, not because, well, I'm more concerned of ticks than getting stung, but yeah, so there we go. Anyway, let's continue then. I'm going to show you the incline. I'm not sure whether I'm going to go down all of it yet. Depends how long this grass is, because I really don't want ticks, and I know I keep going on about it, but let's go. Leave a comment, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe. It really helps, and it lets me know that you enjoy it, and encourages me to make more videos like this. So I've just come up these steps to show you the top and hopefully walk down the incline, but I am not climbing through this. It's like a jungle up here. I will be infested with ticks if I climb through that, which is quite annoying, but there we go. Right, so we are now on the top bit. I can see the house over there, which clearly obviously has no roof anymore, and we've got the wooden timbers here. You can see there's a gap in between the timbers, so we've got the ones I'm stood on, the ones over there, and that tunnel we mentioned when we was down the bottom earlier, that it would have fed the chains through that tunnel that would have come out at the top, so that's where it would have come out to. I'm just trying to decide whether I'm going to climb through all of this vegetation or not. I might just get through this bit, and if it clears up I will continue. Right, well, we made it through the first little jungle. Let's see if we can get through this next bit. I'm determined to finish this video properly, so oh, thank God, it looks like it's clearing up a bit. Well, don't know if you caught the last video, this Quantox one, I made a joke of avoiding the jungle section because I didn't want to get ticks, and I ended up with a tick, and unfortunately I seem to have a bit of a reaction to it. I wasn't very well for a few days, so hence why I'm a little bit apprehensive with ticks, and I want to avoid them at all costs if I can. Oh God, it's getting long again. I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. But look at that view. What a beautiful view. So I'm not going to climb down here because I'm wearing shorts and it's like a jungle, and this really is like tick country. I will definitely end up with many ticks if I go down here. And yeah, but what a beautiful view that is. So at least we still explored quite a few interesting relics from the mineral line. It would have been nice to go down the bottom and show you the old station and the buildings there and the tunnel, but I'm gonna have to save that for another day. We'll come back in winter when the grass is a lot lower, and we'll finish the video then. So this is part 1 of exploring the mineral line. We made it to the top of the incline, but the next one we will go down the incline and explore it all properly. All right, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you like this sort of thing, please let me know. Leave a comment, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe. It really helps, and it lets me know that you enjoy it, and encourages me to make more videos like this. So thanks all for watching, appreciate it, and I will see you on the next one. There we go, exactly what I'm talking about. There's a tick. I'm sure I've got many more, but just to prove I'm not making it up. So I didn't want to just cut the video off there. I wasn't willing to fight through that jungle on Exmoor, but I thought, you know what, I can finish the video off by coming to the beautiful Watchet and showing some remnants of the mineral line that still remain down in Watchet. It's nice to see it nice and busy down in Watchet. It's a funny old place. If you come here in winter, you're often the only person here. I mean, I do love it because you can go to the beach and quite literally have the beach to yourself, but at the same time I appreciate these areas. They need people to keep them alive, so it's nice to see. We are going past the Ancient Mariner right now. Figure from, in fact, hold on, let me get a B-roll. Seagull perfectly positioned on the top of the Ancient Mariner's head there. But yeah, the Ancient Mariner, one of Samuel Taylor Coleridge's stories. Apparently he wrote much of the story from the Bell Hotel, which is just around the corner here. Sorry, the Bell Inn. So we're heading down here now. You've got the museum, Bell Inn's around the corner to the left, but we are heading in that direction towards the lighthouse to see some surviving remnants of the old mineral line. But on the way we will also look at a couple of things in the museum, because there's some stuff in the museum that also, well, shows some archaeology and some illustrations of the mineral line and explains it. There we go, that's pretty cool. So we've actually got a model of the incline. So although we couldn't walk it, technically I'm still taking you there, because here it is, here's the model. But isn't that cool to think that is the house that we were stood in earlier on? I was stood up there moaning about ticks. But yeah, isn't that cool? It gives you an idea of what it really would have looked like. As I said, brought coal from the Brendon Hills down into Watchet. We're going to look at some old railway tracks actually that remain from the mineral line, where they would have took the iron ore and put it directly onto ships waiting in the harbour. But there's also some really cool pictures here I'm going to share with you, but also some other things like a candle holder. That pretty cool candle holder there. They obviously just hammered it into the side of the mine. A very old shovel there. An old picture of one of the winding houses. You can't really see it on the screen. But yeah, here's those pictures. That's what we was at the top of that. Wanted to take you down and show you the bottom, but unfortunately, we're going to save that for another day. It's a lovely picture of the incline there. So cool. And then a picture of them working in the mines underground. So it's pretty special. Couple more things. So this is what I'm going to show you in a moment. There's some of this railway line that's still remaining that you can see today. Gives you an idea of how it would have worked before all this was put in place. They would have brought down iron on horse and carriage. But then we can see once this was all in place, they would have loaded it onto the carts, and as you can see from this one, loaded it directly onto the ships. So pretty impressive. 1900 when Watchet suffered from a mighty storm. But that's pretty cool. You've also got some of the actual iron ore. Look, so this is what they was digging up from the ground. Nice little description diagram here. We can see we're at Watchet currently. We started our journey up in this area, Brendon Hills. We're now at Watchet, but it would have made its way all the way over here to the Vale ironworks that you can see there. And in fact, I'm going to go and show you some other remnants of Watchet that are easy to miss, that relate to the Ebb Vale specifically. There's the Bell Inn, the one I mentioned, where it said Samuel Taylor Coleridge wrote a portion of his book, The Ancient Mariner. We're headed in this direction now. Yes, West Quay. Got a date there, look in the wall, 1869. We're going to make our way up here. You might have seen there's people jumping in the water and everything. That fair play. If you're local to the area, you might have seen a story in the newspapers recently talking about Watchet's lighthouse and the fact that it's painted red. And apparently they've been breaking maritime law for over a century, because apparently it should be painted green. I mean, come on, chill out. But yeah, it's a lovely historic lighthouse. But we've just arrived at what I want to show you. The mineral line on the West Pier. So here we have lots of information about it, but this is what I've come to show you. The actual railway line still remaining. Seagull there keeping guard. I'm going to show you from this angle actually, because it gives you an idea. So we've got the railway lines just here. Isn't that cool? You might remember from that little model I showed you a moment ago that there was a sort of branch line, so the main line would have come down in this direction, and this was a line that came off here, and the iron ore would have come down on the back of the carriages and gone directly into the ships just over there, which is pretty cool. And it's just nice to see that they've preserved this, even if it is just a little bit, a reminder of Watchet's maritime and industrial past. We're going to head down here. I'm just going to show you a few more things, including the station house, which hence the name. So there's a station. If you do come exploring in Watchet and you're looking for random little interesting things, up there is something that most people will miss. It's hard for me to point out because the camera starts focusing on my finger, but just there is an actual World War II air raid siren, which I think is pretty cool. And check out the view. Beautiful Watchet. Beautiful place. And there we have Station House. Of course, as I said, as the name suggests, it was historically a station, and the railway would have cut through this way. But beautiful building. It's quite interesting here because you've got the old lockup just here, but it's probably the only lockup you'll find anywhere that's situated directly beneath a chapel, because the top of this building serves as a chapel. So I think it's pretty cool. So we are heading in this direction next, specifically this building, although there's a lot of buildings that share the same features as this one I'm going to show you. Would you believe it that that very building is one of many around Watchet that is actually connected to the mineral line. Now we're just crossing the West Somerset Railway line, not to be confused with the mineral line. Of course, this was the actual passenger line. So as we made our way just past the railway line, you see these pillars that lead to that building I mentioned, with an interesting symbol. And when we look closer, we can see the Ebb Vale directly stamped on there. So isn't that amazing? We've travelled from the Brendon Hills down to Watchet, spoke about how the mineral line linked up all the way deep into Wales, and now we've come back full circle to Wales linking to Watchet. You know, we've got clearly stamped on there the Ebb Vale, which is a place in Wales that would have manufactured much of the iron. So yeah, I just think it's fascinating, all of the little hidden remnants that survive from the mineral line, even in the buildings. So there we go, one last little curious link to the mineral line, and that is one of many buildings you'll find around Watchet. Anytime you see that symbol, you can look closely and you'll see the Ebb Vale is also included. So yeah, little hints of the mineral line all over the place. We've looked at ruins, remaining railway lines, lots of remnants of the mineral line today, but that's just a small amount of what's there to be discovered. Anyway, so that was the mineral line, part one. Like I said, later in the year when the vegetation dies back a bit, we'll go and do part two, and we will include the incline. We'll go down the incline and look at the old station and the old buildings down there, and also there's a really cool waterfall to discover as well. So thanks for watching. I think I've said it already, but if you enjoyed it, please like, give our page a subscribe. It really helps, and it also lets me know that you enjoy this sort of thing and encourages me to make some more. So thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.